Hello everyone, this is Chris9017 and we're back here on the Big Island and Pacific Railroad here on the Big Island of Hawaii in my vacation home. And right now, you're looking at both Chii and Freya. They have just returned and come back after a full year absence, and they've been fully restored, fully refurbished, torn down, rebuilt from the ground up, and are good and ready to go. During their rehab, they've had a lot of work done on them. Chii Elda, you've never seen her before. This is Chii. She's the younger Persicom locomotive from Chobits. Yeah. Both Chii and Freya are almost identical, except Chii is a 440, whereas Freya is a 260. I also put a few other differences, such as she's got white walls. Chii's got white wall tires. Freya doesn't have white walls at all. They're silver walls. Along with silver counterweights, Freya also has a new added crosshead pump, which I installed. And she's got a more conventional dynamo, whereas Chii has more of a streamlined sort of dynamo. I sort of got that off the Reno locomotive, which is an old VNT locomotive that was built in 1871. This engine was built close to that time. The prototype, that is. Also, Freya's got a longer pilot. She's got a gray smoke box and a silver front. Chii's got a black smoke box. As well as the fact Freya's got a 5-chime whistle and Chii's got a single note. Freya's also got a darker brown wooden cab roof, as well as darker wooden tender toolboxes, as well as a European style backup light compared to a conventional American style backup light. Yeah, so they both have had a lot of work done on them. Yeah, Freya used to have a beautiful star right here, but for some reason that star just burned off or something in the sunlight and humidity. Yeah, these engines are excellent performers since the rebuild. Freya was literally falling apart when the last time she was here. The whole entire bottom end, the running gear and valve gear was all corroded. I literally had to go underneath there and then sand it all out, clean up all the oil, crud, and everything that was inside the gearbox. She was given a new motor, a new gearbox. Most of the running gear was repaired, sanded off, and she's pretty much good to go. Chii didn't really have anything wrong with her. She just went for minor touch-ups as well as a new paint job. It was mainly her tender that was the problem. The tender trucks were falling apart, so I had to order new tender trucks. Also, the drawbar was falling apart. I had to glue that back together. I'm hoping it will just hold, but you know, I'm not too optimistic about that tender drawbar. It's the fact that Bachmann they put weaker plastic on sort of their more beautiful engines, and they don't really hold and withstand humidity and the salt air as well. The Heisler, for instance, right here, this is old 102. I've had this engine for about a year longer than I've had Chii and Freya. She actually withstands the salt air much better, and that's because her running gear's got anti-corrosive material, since logging engines had anti-corrosive material, and that's because they had a rough life. Logging engines had to run through rivers, such as on the Meadow River Lumber Company. The Heisler locomotive number 6 had to run through a river with her bare wheels and rails dipping right into the water. They also had a lot of sand, dirt, and debris and dust going all over the place that could easily corrode and destroy the running gear, so they put anti-corrosive material to pretty much reduce the amount of stress on all the gears and reduce the wear and tear. So, yeah. Also, most of the motors and the running gear, it's a lot more protected. It's all housed inside the trucks, where you have to take the trucks apart in order to get to the gears and the motor, line shaft, and everything. Compared to these, these conventional engines, the gears are literally exposed and literally hang right just above the track. So everything can pretty much get into there and access it really easily, which makes it easy to work on, but it's not so much a good thing when it comes to the environment, because they can easily be damaged. The Heisler, however, her electrical components are not as well protected as it is on these engines. The electrical components are all tucked away in the boiler compared to the electrical components on the Heisler. The main circuit board's in the tender box, but a lot of the wires hook right in the bolsters and are easily exposed. So it's more of the electrical components that are bitten rather than the mechanical component. So it's sort of a trade-off. Well, yeah, since their rebuild, I've also had their whistles broke, so I gave them new whistles, new sounds. I like the sound of Freya's old whistle, so I put Freya's old whistle on Chii, or an identical sound to Freya's old whistle on Chii, the 440, and Freya, the 260, got a whole new whistle of her own. It's a Rio Grande 5 chime, which I thought sounded much more appropriate for that of a freight hauling locomotive, and it's also a very beautiful whistle. It sounds pretty similar to the whistles on Robert Dollar number 3, Sonora Shea number 7, Denver and Rio Grande Western Railroads, Durango and Silverton Railroad number 478, as well as Greenfield Village Railroad's Edison, and former Sierra Railroad number 3. The whistle sounds very similar to those whistles. So, yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of those high-pitched 5-chime whistles. They're pretty nice sounding and very melodic. They're not as melodic and as beautiful sounding as 102's East Broad Top whistle, which is really, really beautiful, but still, the 5-chime is pretty close, and the single chime is very appropriate for an old 1870s-style passenger engine. Also, since I last showed you guys this, there have been several changes. You see, right now I've got a new train station, a water tower made from Pico, a few new buildings right here. Yep, some buildings and a water tower over there. I also have a new added train. Meet Hannon. I've had this industrial mogul for years, but during the time I last shot this railroad, this section was still in my shop in thousands of pieces getting repainted. But her repaint has all been done, and now she's good and ready to go. She performs very well and is pretty much the right size for a sugarcane railroad. Very similar to an engine you would find on a sugarcane plantation. Also meet Cassie. She's an exact identical engine to that of Hannon, except she's for the main line rather than the sugarcane plantation. I use her as a small, light maintenance of way engine, since she's very light, easy to move, easy to operate, easy to maintain. Also, she doesn't have as much delicate parts, so all her components are pretty well protected in her. She's a really good engine, but she can't haul much, so I use her for light maintenance of way stuff. Yeah. Also, I've got a Davenport diesel, which is in the back. So, yeah, that's pretty much about it. Now, I'll show you a couple of more segments on these trains running, as well as the changes. I've also put the road name on the engines, Big Island and Pacific. Freya's got a new decal, so does Chii. The tank cars have all been re-decaled, saying Big Island and Pacific, and this one says Big Island Sugar Company. And all the passenger cars have the road name on them. So yeah, there's been a lot of changes here since I last shot it. Well, that's it for now. I'll see you soon. We just also got new neighbors on the other side of the wall. So, that's another big change. Well, I'll see you soon. This is Chris9017, out.